We're going to look at one more method for factoring. So factoring expressions with 4 terms, and generally this method is called factoring by grouping. So if you have 4 terms, try grouping them into pairs that have a common factor. Each term in the pair must have a different exponent on the x term. And I have x term in parentheses because it could be any variable. So let's look at example 1, which is 6x squared plus 9x minus 2x minus 3. First, we're going to group them into 2 pairs. So 6x squared plus 9, we can put in the first pair. Negative 2x minus 3 we can put in the second pair. I'm going to keep the negative with the 2, which implies that there's a plus in between the 2 parentheses. So if I look at 6x squared and 9x, my greatest common factor is 3x, so I pull it out, put parentheses. 6x squared divided by 3x is 2x. 9x divided by 3x is 3. That's what's in my parentheses. If I look at my second pair, negative 2x minus 3, the only thing I have in common is 1, and because that leading term was a negative, I'll pull the negative out with it, put my parentheses, and then negative 2x divided by the negative 1 is positive 2x. Negative 3 divided by the negative 1 is positive 3. And we see that our parentheses, what's in our parentheses matches up, which is good. Otherwise, we did something wrong. That's going to come out front. So that's like our new greatest common factor. So 2x plus 3 in parentheses out front. And then we're going to put those greatest common factors that were out front together in a second set of parentheses. So 3x minus 1 goes in the second set of parentheses. And so we factored example 1 into 2x plus 3 times 3x minus 1. If we were to FOIL those, we would get the original example. Let's look at a second example. 3x plus 2x squared plus 8x plus 12. Okay, so let's group the first 2 terms, 3x plus 2x squared. Let's group the second 2 terms, the 8x plus 12. Okay, what's important here is that each term in each pair must be written in the same order according to the exponents. So that, and basically, we need to have the same order of the degree. So here we've got the x term and then the x squared term. We've got the x term and the constant term. So in the first pair, we're going up in degree. The second pair, we're going down in degree. And they both need to be in the same order. So we're going to rewrite the first pair so that it's going down in degree. So 2x squared plus 3x. And we still have our second pair as 8x plus 12. If we look at our first pair, 2x squared and 3x, our greatest common factor is x. So I pull it out, put my parentheses, then 2x squared divided by x is 2x. 3x divided by x is 3. Let's look at our second pair. So 8x and 12, our common factor is 4. Put the parentheses, it's plus 4 because there's a plus in between. So I will bring the plus down. So then parentheses, then 8x divided by 4 is 2x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So in my parentheses goes 2x plus 3. Again, we see that what's in the parentheses is the same, otherwise we made a mistake. So pull it out front, 2x plus 3, and then in our second parentheses we'll go the x and the plus 4. So 2x plus 3 times x plus 4. And that, if we were to multiply them together, will give us the original example. Okay. We can also use this method when we're factoring trinomials where a is not equal to 1. These are the types of trinomials where I showed you the box method. So for example, if we have 2x squared plus 9x minus 5, okay, remember a is 2, B is 9, C is negative 5. What we will do here is multiply A times C. So this is similar to the box method. 2 times negative 5, and I get negative 10. Then we will find factors of that product, AC, that add up to B. So how do I make a negative 10? I can do negative 1, positive 10, positive 1, negative 10. Negative 2, positive 5, positive 2, negative 5. Those are our only ones, and let's look at what they add to. The first pair adds to 9, then negative 9, positive 3, negative 3. And we want to find the ones that add up to 9, which is our B. That's the first pair. Then, step 3, we're going to rewrite the example, keeping the first and last term the same, but now we're going to split the middle term using the pair of factors we found in number 2. So we'll write 2x squared. We'll write the minus 5. Those stay the same always. And instead of writing plus 9x, we're going to use the factors we found, negative 1 and positive 10, to write negative 1x, positive 10x. So we use these two factors. Now we're going to split into pairs and factor out a greatest common factor. So I split into 2x squared minus 1x and 10x minus 5. In my first pair, my greatest common factor is x, so we factor it out. Put the parentheses, 2x squared, 2x squared divided by x is 2x. Negative 1x divided by x is minus 1. Put the parentheses. Second pair, the greatest common factor of 10x and negative 5 is 5. We drop down the plus. 10x divided by 5 is 2x. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. Okay, so we see that our parentheses are identical, 2x minus 1. Okay, remember, if what is in the parentheses is the same, you did it right. Otherwise, you made a mistake somewhere. So now our final step is to write the parentheses that's the same, so bring that out front, and then we will put in the second set of parentheses our two greatest common factors. So bring the 2x minus 1 out front, and then the second set of parentheses, write the x and the plus 5, so that 2x squared plus 9x minus 5 factors to 2x minus 1 times x plus 5. So, by the way, if in step 2 you can't find a pair that adds to b, the trinomial is prime, which means that it cannot be factored. So let's look at one more example using this method. 12x squared plus 7x plus 1. So multiply a times b, so 12 times 1, we get 12. So let's look at combinations of getting positive 12. Positive 1, positive 12, negative 1, negative 12. Positive 2, positive 6, negative 2, negative 6. Positive 3, positive 4, negative 3, negative 4. And we need to find the combination that adds up to positive 7. So let's look at what these sum to. We get positive 13, negative 13, positive 8, negative 8, positive 7, negative 7. So here's our positive 7 pair, which is positive 3 and positive 4. We're going to rewrite the trinomial, keeping the first term and last term the same. So 12x squared. Then we're going to use the positive 3 and positive 4 to break up 7x, so plus 3x plus 4x. Remember, the plus 1, the last term, stays the same. Now we're going to break the 4 terms into 2 pairs, so 12x squared plus 3x, 4x plus 1. If we look at our first pair, 12x squared plus 3x, what's our greatest common factor? That will be 3x. 12x squared divided by 3x is 4x. 3x divided by 3x is 1. Okay, second pair, if we look at 4x and 1, the only common factor we have is 1, so I pull that out. The positive comes down. parentheses, 4x divided by 1 is 4x. 1 divided by 1 is 1, so it stays the same in parentheses. Our parentheses are the same, so we pull that out front, 4x plus 1. And then in the second set of parentheses, we put our 3x plus 1, our greatest common factors.